it was sort of the thing to like fake like you were a big business, and I put the email, it was my first email address ever, blah blah blah, and Jess emailed it thinking that she was emailing like a company that she could come work at when she moved back to Minneapolis.
The name of your thing that was stamped on the back was 2222 Screen Print
Facility.
Yeah.
Facility.
So,
It was very, very professional.
Very
the number of the
hook, line, and sinker.
It's time for another episode of Best of the Tour. This is the show that takes you behind the scenes of your favorite gig posters, tour merch, and the artists who bring it all to life. Let's start the show.
This is episode number 23 of the Best of the Tour podcast. Today we are sitting down, Erica and I, with Dan and Jessica of Landland Studios. And before I officially say welcome, let me give you all a little flavor of Landland Studios from the IGs. Lighthouse Keeper at Landland, small illustration and design studio, and screen printing shop in Minneapolis. Also a tiny record label. And this is my favorite part, probably busy. So Jessica, Dan, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you so much.
Well, this is actually very current events for us. If you listen to the podcast, Mike and I are big fans of the band Goose. And we were actually just in Virginia Beach earlier last week.
Right. I had to find a segue reference because I saw this awesome print for Goose. They did 2 nights in Virginia Beach. So this print applied to both nights. I think it was highlighted on night 1 as the signed print. This is how Goose will typically do things, is if there's a 2-night stand, one night the band signs 10 copies or so of one, the next night they sign of the other. I think y'all was night 1, and they are these little, very specific looking, terrifying velociraptor type or miniature Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm not a dinosaur expert, but they're awesome. They're emerging from their dinosaur eggs. And one of the eggs is creatively labeled Goose. So just an awesome piece. A lot of fun for us lifelong fans of Jurassic Park. It spoke to me. So awesome
Thanks.
Work, guys.
Did you see the park there? It's right. I guess it's by an Air Force base or a military base.
Yeah, so we came in hot to the shows, drove in, went to the show. I worked all day the next day, went to the show. So the only thing we saw in Virginia Beach was there's a giant King Titan Poseidon statue. But had I gotten to adventure around, I do know that there is a sculpture.
Yeah, it's I guess it's a sculpture garden. There's a bunch of dinosaurs actually. Some of them are crazy. There's one that's I guess you're not supposed to call him a brontosaurus anymore, but
with the long neck.
Yeah. But there's one that is in the middle of this pond, and it was fine 50 years ago or whatever, but now it's completely melted. So it's essentially this brontosaurus that dissolves down into rebar into the lake. There's a foot of rebar. It looked really cool, but it also, I don't know. This little zone with these little baby Tyrannosauruses was probably more appropriate for the poster. But actually, I have all of my. This is where I draw. Everything is, but I have this is the drawing for that.
Oh wow!
I don't know if it's easy to see, but yeah. So
much with so much done in the sort of digital age and on iPad. So that's your opening sort of sketch of it before you kind of take it to color and final and all that?
That's actually the final drawing of it.
Wow.
So yeah, what ends up here, everything's accessible.
I would say that while you're doing that, both of us do as much as we can in the physical world before we do the computer stuff.
That's awesome. Knowing a lot of the artists and the ways that they have to create art for the masses, right? You guys have to obviously digitize them to either promote them on the internet or then obviously sending them you guys for screen printing and things of that nature too. But there's something I think really beautiful and honest about the tactile piece of doing the work with your hands. Whether it's drawing on an iPad, I think it feels different. The energy is a little bit different than you are when you're drawing on paper.
It really does. And I think we're both old enough, that we were doing this stuff well before computers were a part of it. And yeah, I've just never gotten the hang of drawing on.
I'll do-
And nothing against people who do.
Yeah.
It still feels just wrong to
I'll
me.
do-
Like to not have the drag of the paper. Like, and like then the lines that I wind up making just like to me look like I didn't make them. It's very weird.
I have that too. There's also a weird thing where it's like, in order to do what I think is like effective mark making, I have to be like really zoomed in, and then I'm not looking at the whole thing. Like, you know, with something like, you know, the drawing I just showed you, it's so easy to just, you know, you zoom out as a human reflex to like kind of survey what you're doing and where you're at with it. But when I'm clicked into like a little tiny thing, I can't get a feel for it. But this is what the rough art this is a terrible drawing, but this is what I send the band initially. That's for awesome. You know, and they're always 6x8. It's always small, so I am limited in what I can do. Yeah. But then that's the but yeah, then this is like
then
the
it turns
drawing.
into that.
So,
that is
yeah.
So how long? Okay, so I think we can kind of like circle around to the collaboration between Jessica and Dan, right? So for a piece like this, tell us a little bit about how that partnership works. Like, how did you guys meet and start the studio together? Because you're in two different places and, you know, your styles are similar but different. So I'm just kind of curious as to how the partnership began.
So this poster, so the way that we work, we team up on stuff sometimes we do our own thing. It's sort of just like what the situation calls for.
And I would say it really has evolved over the 20 years that we've been working together.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be 20 next year, yeah.
Wow. That's like a legit long time.
It is. And we really kind of like learned how to do this kind of work together. And so I feel like our different like skill sets have changed within that time.
Yeah, in the beginning, like Jess was very analog, where like the whole digital end of things like Photoshop was like super intimidating, and now she knows.
Like I didn't own a computer. There were times where I'd be like, I'd have my thing drawn and then I'd give it to Dan and he would scan it in, and then I'd stand behind him as he was in Photoshop and I'd like tell him what to do.
Move this like an inch.
Yeah. And, it was so what a good sport you were, Dan. But I could barely use a mouse. I was so overwhelmed by the computer part.
Yeah. Well, and then she cruised past me.
I think I owned a computer until my late 20s.
Oh, wow.
What, Dan? I'm sorry.
Oh, you cruised past me, though. Like, you're constantly telling me things, and I'm like, I didn't know you could do that. I mean, yeah, no, totally. I mean, as far as, especially in the realm of like coloring stuff or whatever, like you're.
Oh, sure.
I think you're coming at it. You come at it from such a like. You're like smashing the tools to do what you need to do, that you come up with these solutions that I've never heard of in my life, but it works perfectly, and it's cool. It like really streamlined the way that I do things.
Okay, that's good to hear.
But but
we're having a little therapy session right now.
Welcome to Landland.
Hey, if you're like us, you love supporting the independent artists who make the art for the posters we love. So if you're looking for a new poster, look no further than shop.invisibleindustries.com. You can find their print collections, including art prints, limited edition prints, remarks, original works, and much, much more.
So go on over to shop.invisibleindustries.com to go check out what they've got in store.
We started. We were working on our own stuff separately. I don't know. How do we even...
Where to start?
Well, I mean, we do have kind of a cute origin story.
Okay.
Please share.
Yeah,
we do. If you're open to it.
Right?
Yeah. Go
ahead. Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm going to make this too long.
So I worked on the first poster I ever made for a band where they paid me money was a tour poster for this band, Sweet Like Johnny, and Jess was a fan of that band. She was living in Seattle at the time, but she was from here, Minneapolis. And she bought that poster at the show, and I had stamped on the back, like I was a college kid, like working out of my, at that point, I think I had dropped out. I ended up going, whatever. I was printing in my apartment.
We were both very young. I was 18 and right out of high school, and like, what am I going to, and I wasn't going to college, and I was like, what? You know,
so I had stamped the back of this with my fake. I went to college with Aaron Draplin. I don't know if you know that guy, but he's like a design. He's actually like a human design movement. And back in the day, he was always pushing himself as this larger thing. Now he is that thing, but like, it was sort of the thing to like fake like you were a big business, and I put the email, it was my first email address ever, blah blah blah, and Jess emailed it thinking that she was emailing like a company that she could come work at when she moved back to Minneapolis.
The name of your thing that was stamped on the back was 2222 screen print
facility.
Yeah.
Facility.
So,
It was very, very professional.
Very
The number of the
hook, line, and sinker.
the street number of the apartment that I lived in, and the facility was a bathtub that we lost a damage deposit
Yeah.
on. And
I didn't know.
What was the email address, like, out of curiosity? Was it like at AOL.com? I mean, were you that far back? Or were you
I
like,
think it was a proper domain. I think I had like a proper, because in college, like they taught us how to set up a domain and get an email thing, but not how to invoice a client for work. But
Okay.
I think I had like a proper domain by then, so it wasn't like,
it looked like legit.
yeah,
Well, enough
you know.
that you got a job application from Jessica.
and this is
Yeah.
my question, is had anybody else sent any email? Like, was this just sitting there as an empty email, and then one day there's one email that comes in and you're like, oh my God, I got an email, and it's Jessica.
I think I used it for trolling before trolling was a thing. I think it was just harassment. I was like a feral. I was probably awful. But that's all. Yeah. But she emailed, and I had to be like, you busted me. I'm just a dude, whatever. And that was, I think we
Also,
kind of
my
stayed in
email
touch.
was like, I don't know
was like-
how to screen print or do any of this stuff, but I'd like to learn. Do you
I
want
sure would like a
me to
job.
work for you?
Aww.
It was very nice. I have like a screenshot of it.
Did you at least address it to like Dear Human Relations or anything like that?
it kind of
Jess?
was like that, yeah.
I think it was like
To
that. It
whom
was
it
like
may
a
concern.
Yep.
To whom it may concern, dear madam or sir,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in employment with your facility.
Zero qualifications.
Yeah.
I also not like me to. I don't know where that came from.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Sometimes
very
the
weird, well,
universe,
because-
right?
But then
Yeah.
the thing is, Dan wrote back to me. I was like, "Oh, sorry. Actually, this isn't really a real thing. I work out of my apartment. I'm not in a position to hire anybody. This is like my first paid poster. Sorry to trick you." And then I was like, "Oh, no problem. No worries." And that was that. And then I wound up moving back to Minneapolis shortly after, and on the street ran into a friend of mine from high school who was like, I played bass at the time, and he was like, "Oh, I'm starting a band. Do you want to play bass in this band?" And I said, "Okay." So I went to the band practice, and the singer happened to be this guy named Dan Black. And we quickly realized that we had, that I was the person who had emailed him.
It was so strange. It was totally
Yeah.
strange.
Oh.
Now that's
Not
Erica
realizing before
mentioned-
that we had like mutual connections or anything.
That's universe type stuff. Like you mentioned
it
universe. I was like, I don't know that that's universe. She just emailed a guy. But now
Yeah.
this, right? You
Yeah.
show up in a city that you're not a part of. You happen to play bass. You're invited to be in a band. And then the same guy that had a shell company set up that you fell for to go and email for a job that doesn't exist is the lead singer of the band. This
Yeah.
is a
I do wish
fantastic
we had,
origin
like, a-
story.
But then then
Yeah.
the weirdest thing is I've got this buddy from from grade school and high school and all that stuff who is sort of like the archivist of my band stuff and like took
I
pictures
forgot
and
about this.
videotaped every show or whatever. And there was a point, it was well after I had known Jess for maybe like a year or so, and we were looking through the photos of my bad high school band, and looking through them, and there were these photos, and I was like, oh my God, that's Jess. It's like high school. We played a show together. My last band before this one played a show with her high school band in St. Cloud, which is like a town neither of us live in.
Yeah, what's crazy is I was 15 and living in rural Minnesota, and like 4 hours north of where you would have been living, right, Dan? In Mankato? We're both
4 or
in like
5.
I'm in rural north central Minnesota. He's in rural south central Minnesota. He's 5 years older than me. We both had these like stupid high school bands that happened to play in St. Cloud, which was a place where neither of us lived. We played a show together
Yeah.
when
I
I
don't-
was 15 and you were 20.
Amazing.
I guess you were in high school.
I was we were wrapping things up, I think. I was in college.
Yeah.
No, that was my college band. It was the band I was in
Yeah, I
for
was
a couple of
15,
years in
you were
college.
20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
now,
I mean, no memory of it really, but
Everyone
there's,
else in
like,
my band interacted with
documentation.
them too, and I did not. I was like, I think
amazing.
I might have
You
said
were the
hi
lead
or something.
singer. You were the diva. You had
I was like, I had such stage fright constantly. Like TMI, but like we'd go into these shows and I would just get like bad diarrhea and like everything. And I would be freaked out the whole time. And I was a very like, active front man person, like it was very,
you wouldn't know it.
I would never know it.
Yeah, it was a lifetime ago, but like I would be so nervous. So I would just try to walk around and find Thai food or like I would try to do anything except be there.
If you're like me and Erica, you love passing out stickers while attending concerts with friends, making new friends. Where do you get these stickers? Look no further than stickerrobot.com. They are renowned for the highest quality sticker printing on the planet, world famous, custom outdoor silkscreen sticker printing, free US shipping, and we have a promo for you. If you visit stickerrobot.com/invisible, you will receive 10% off your next high quality screen printed sticker order. So act fast.
Going right now.
Right now.
Right now. And also, thanks to our friends over at the Rock Poster Society. If you don't know TRPS, they are a nonprofit behind the world's longest-running rock poster collection shows. That includes the Festival of Rock Posters in San Francisco, which is a bucket list thing for Mike and I to go to. They have been championing the art of poster for decades. They support both the artists and those people who collect them and preserve them. If you want to get involved, go over to trps.org if you want to become a member and check out their upcoming events.
Check them out.
So you guys, the kismet sort of serendipitous nature of meeting, where did the kind of true sort of partnership on the art side start to form, right? So your kids, you meet as kids essentially, and then as young adults, and Dan, your first paying gig, Jess reaches out to ask for a job, and then you move back, and then you're in a band together. So
for like
we really were in a band together. We
We
had 2 practices.
She didn't want to do it.
That counts.
That band.
It's valid.
The band was stupid. I'm just kidding. It just wasn't a good fit. But no, we hit it off. Then Dan and I actually dated for several years, and somewhere in there we started working together.
I was screen printing a lot and doing posters for First Avenue here, and Jess was doing drawings and doing things, and we were trying to figure out all the time like how to pull her into the screen printing shop and like simultaneously, just because we were hanging out all the time, and like my roommates and like everyone was hanging out and we were all screen printing and stuff. Jess kind of ended up getting like almost like a secondhand screen printing degree in a way. And then we started working on stuff together. And then not really in any kind of like formal way, but then Jess moved to, I was working at Target as a designer for a while, or, whatever, branding. And Jess moved to California for a bit, and I started Landland with this guy, Matt Zahn. And it was sort of, we'd been screen printing together, all 3 of us off and on, and me and him a little bit more than Jess at some points. But we were in basements, and we were like borrowing space from friends who had basements and getting, kind of weirdly kicked out of those spaces. And we were in a place, Matt was living in a house, and his landlord at the time ended up having to move back into the house. So he was living in the basement while we were printing down there.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just like a really weird situation, because we were having to like break our stuff down so he could live there. And then, and it kind of broke us. So we were like, we're going to rent a space. And he and I finally got this little breaker room, closet essentially in this warehouse with some friends of ours. And, started building that out for screen printing. And the idea was that we were gonna pull her in for illustration stuff, because we never knew, she'd been in Milwaukee, she'd been in California, and we were just gonna grab her because her skill set was something that I don't have, and Matt,
and you still had her job application on file.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. So when I looked through and tried to figure out who to pull in, but so we did that, and we built our light table and started working on our first few screen printing jobs, and Matt ended up, he went out of town. He went to Eau Claire to hang out with some friends and do some music stuff or whatever. And in their hotel room, he died of a heart attack. It was a weird thing. We were just barely like starting to figure our stuff out. and I had never had anything like that happen to me before. So it was a really weird thing. Like I shut the studio, like I locked the door. I didn't go in there for like a month until there was a point where his family wanted to come through and see what he'd built and all that stuff. And, and then we went in and, like his handwriting's on all the 2x4s and all this stuff. And it was weird. But at some point while I was kind of dealing with that, I was talking to Jess and, she was just like, should I move back and help with this stuff? Which, was it was big. And then I don't know. I mean, Jess's take is probably different than that, but for me, it was like this real, like, you shouldn't be doing this stuff alone. It was never, I wanted to be more like, I want things to feel more like a collective or like a band or what, like I want people feeding into the thing that we're doing. So it's like just me being like a guy doing this stuff on my own was like never, I don't think I'd ever thought about doing it that way. So it was very meaningful that Jess moved back and helped. And we just kind of launched into it the best we knew how. And eventually the poster work, it was not paying well. The structure, this wasn't really a job. There were maybe 50 people on the planet Earth that were doing this as a job when we started. So our model for it was very crude and very whatever. But, we were doing work, we were doing some printing for other people. And at some point, I got sort of stable enough where the Target job paid me more than I actually ended up working at this ad agency that was amazing, but it was where Matt had worked before, when he died, essentially. They paid me enough money where I could kind of build a nest egg to like quit for a while. And I just kind of launched into it full time. And then eventually there was so much stuff that Jess did too. And,
I love the way that you're telling the story, Dan, that like, for you, Jess, to be able to step up in a space that is really hard and heavy, right? So to be able to honor your friend and the work that you were doing and to continue it, I think oftentimes we find that when we're kind of in like a really dark and heavy space that like we want to just shut the door, like you said, shut the door, don't look at it, don't talk about it, don't think about it. But I think when we have to kind of like come face to face with that moment, that kind of grief, what you do with it is what's important, right? And so, I mean, at what point in time was that? Like, how many years ago were we talking? And now, where you guys are at now, like, how much of an honoring of the start, the birth of Landland? That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I honestly, like, not to actually turn this into the Landland therapy session, but I really think that the first maybe 10 years or so of us doing this stuff, I was going full throttle like a crazy person. And I think a lot of it was in service to, it was like, that was a thing that Matt wanted, and he wanted to see a thing do well. So we were making, between the two of us, we're making 50 or 60 posters a year. And that's drawing and all the pre-press and printing and dealing with that stuff and trying to like grow a mail order thing. I mean, we were handling every piece of it, and it was just the two of us. Well, we had help here and there. We kind of like flirted with the idea of interns, and that was strange. I mean, those people are great, but I don't think that's what we are built to do. Well, but yeah.
Jess, tell us your perspective from that kind of transition when you called Dan and said, "Hey, should I move back?"
I mean, really, it is just how he said it.
Yeah.
I guess I've always been a little aimless. And I like to help. I mean, we were really good friends. Like I said, we dated for a couple of years. We broke up, but we kind of broke up because we were like, we're meant to be.
We're really way too similar. I mean, we're honestly like we're really siblings, similar. And it was. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it just wasn't. I feel like I don't have much to add. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't a big.
I think your California thing was going to end anyway.
Right thing to do, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It was like, well, no.
Now so we are.
When y'all kind of get together in that space for the sort of first time, you've moved back and you're coming on. Just do y'all recall what the first project or first couple projects, first gig poster you had?
Well, I think it was probably finishing building the studio.
We had a little bit of that to do.
Nails,
But
drywall.
That's a good question.
Trying to think, we were working on a lot of stuff for local bands. Like a lot of we were screen printing CD packaging and doing 1,000 CD jackets, like 6 colors or whatever, and we were printing it all by hand. We were pulling by hand.
Oh my goodness.
And I think it was a lot of that kind of stuff. A lot of favors for friends. The first time we went to a flat stock was the year after Matt died. Actually, it was 2008 was the first one we went to, and it was so funny because we showed up and it, like, Jay Ryan had been talking to me for a long time via email or whatever about doing it, and I was like, I can't do it. When I was at Target, there was a designer that went down and did it for like R&D kind of stuff. And he came back and was like, oh, Jeff Kleinsmith was there from Sub Pop, and like all, it was like all the big people. And I was like, what do we have? And he finally talked us into going down there, and we hung up our little booth, and it was like posters for Jess's band, posters for my band, our friend's band. It was and it was all on chipboard, and it was all weird sizes, and so that was the kind of stuff we were doing. It was like not national at all.
I guess what you didn't mention is when we started doing this stuff, it really was just that we were both in bands, and we were like, oh, we can use this skill set to make
someone needed to make the visuals.
Because also back then, you actually really did advertise for bands, for your shows by
staple the thing to a post.
Yep, exactly. You're posting them on the street, telephone poles,
and then
in the Paneras.
Oh, well, we're screen printing these so we can print 15 extra, like Dan said, we were printing on chipboard for some reason. So not even an option for someone to like buy it online. It didn't even occur to us that anyone would ever want to buy anything from us.
We didn't have a format
online
for that.
where we'd have to roll it into a tube because you literally can't roll chipboard.
Right.
Yeah.
But now,
and we were putting them on chipboard. I mean, it was cheap, but it was also like, you could go down to like the co-op, and they've got the big, the barrel with all the flyers and stuff. It'd be a thing that could, in theory, you could staple it to that thing and it would weather for a little while. And this would irritate the dummy, but people would steal them immediately. And so at a certain point, we were like, man, we're making these like nice things, and
they're too nice.
Yeah. And they're there for 6 hours or whatever. And I mean, it's flattering now, but I was just like, there's no way we can do this.
I think we were a little flattered then.
I'd be curious to scour the internet to see if anyone's got like old Landland chipboard posters, trying to be like, these were the first ones out there. I stole it from a light pole.
There's probably at least one on eBay somewhere,
probably. So, but now here's the thing: your guys are doing work for bands like we mentioned, Goose, the Avett Brothers, Phish.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Sphere piece that y'all did was just
lights out,
epic. Like, I mean, I get
that means a lot, honestly.
Yeah, but like when we talk about like some of the bands that are best in the merch game, y'all are doing work for all of them. Like that is impressive, and the not just like the act of doing the work, but like your work itself is incredible. It's detailed. It is like we were talking about with the
really
Virginia
cool color
Beach.
palette choices.
Beautiful color palette choices. The line work. It feels organic. Like there's a very organic kind of tone. I'm looking at the Phish poster now. It's this like really cool old like slot machine that looks like it's been like thrown out in the desert, right? And there's sort of nature has been sort of coming to take it back. And it's just, I can tell knowing Jessica, there's your line work. And knowing Jessica's work you have a lot of work with birds, beautiful like aviary styles. And, Dan, with your line work and sort of more of the like hard and fast, like tactile drawing lines. It's such a beautiful, I'm assuming this is a good collab piece that we're talking about.
That one is, yeah.
Yeah.
Very much 50-50 on that.
And obviously Phish is big, but this is Phish at the Sphere. So this is like, you guys got like next level.
First night too. It was intimidating. I mean, we've been in like, it's always been intimidating to work for them. Mostly like the first poster we did, we got jumped in like a really rough way. And then every time we've been like, okay, it's out. Are we good? Everybody? And I think a few posters in, the reception started to warm up. I think we literally were like new blood or whatever, and had to
That's
get
how it
through
is
that.
for everyone who works.
I
with
think
Phish, is
so.
my
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah. I've seen some stuff, but
Maybe especially back then.
yeah, but also we're working for them less frequently now than, so it's like when one does come along, we're sort of
Yeah.
like,
This is cool.
you know, does anyone remember that we've already gone through the gauntlet, you know, and
You guys beat us up already. Please be gentle from here, right?
and there's
Are
always
you
a
still
few.
looking at comments, Dan?
No. Well, since I quit Facebook, I'm not. But like, yeah, no, but it's rough, you know, because they'll email you, you know, like they'll just send an email and just be like, "Hey, you ruined our summer with
That
your
does
ugly-"
not happen that often.
It doesn't happen that
It's-
much now.
You know,
It's funny because like I scroll through the
It
comments
didn't
on
happen that
piece
much
and-
then.
Well, this is the thing that Phish did that was amazing is they started putting on their posts. They were like, "Hey, humans make this stuff.
Yes.
You need to be chill."
kind.
And I think it really changed the entire tone of how that stuff goes. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen the negative stuff off really for anyone. Like
But
it
either
used
way,
to
the
be.
huge majority
Yes.
of the people of the Phish fans are
Yeah.
lovely human
Just as
beings
the
who have
cup
very
half full.
positive things to say.
No, it's great. I mean, honestly, it's so nice. It's just I worry because
Yeah.
I just don't like getting yelled at by.
You want to make every single last person happy.
well, and I always joke that there's like that old saying. It's like, you know, you can't make everyone. You're not guacamole or something like that. You can't make everyone happy.
Right.
But you know, we're critical of like posters that we collect and posters that we see, but I'm never mean about it because I do
Yeah.
feel the same way. Like, not just because we're close enough to the community that we know a lot of the artists who are creating the work now, but also in the sense of like, this is why art is important. This is why art is all about beauty in the eye of the beholder, right? So like what somebody thinks is the most like unbelievable, beautiful piece of work that means so much to them may not mean the same way. I might not interpret it the same way and vice versa. And like we almost like forget in this quick day and age of like keyboard warriors and being able to like just comment instantly. Like there has to be a moment. I wish there were more people who would pause, you know, like and say, if I wouldn't say this to somebody to their face, would I comment on the internet? I reinforce that with like my kids all the time. Mike and I talk about that all the time. But I mean, to me, that's like, it's important to create art that either creates a conversation, good or bad, and to create art that is meaningful to y'all as the artists. Just because, you know, it might not speak to me in a way doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it doesn't line up with whatever it is that I like. And
I think
we even have differences too on things that like I see something, I'm like, I need it, I love it. Mike's like, I don't know, you know. It's like we don't always agree on things too.
Yeah, but I think bringing the new, fresh sort of perspective on it, you know, and challenging the process, going to a place maybe where it's something new and unique that you haven't exactly seen before, right? So like, I mean, Vegas gives you all the options in the world.
So much,
so many tropes and things, and I think the choice to say you're going to kind of blend this sort of old school type of slot machine that's broken and busted and forgot about. Maybe it's out in the desert, sort of being taken back by nature. Birds kind of coming in and maybe starting to build a nest there. Like it's just as a unique take, you know. It's not a rubber stamp and a carbon copy of something that's done before. And that's the type of stuff for me, right? As a consumer of the art, as a collector of the art of the piece, I look for those things that are, well, I haven't seen that before. You know, I haven't run into 3 dinosaur eggs hatching at a goose show before. That's new. I'm not really sure why they're hatching here, but it's cool. It was like a refreshing kind of perspective. And I think bands like, you know, like Phish and Goose, they give that space to play with those ideas.
And honestly, I mean, like Julia for Phish, like she gives us direction. I mean, she gives direction being completely familiar with the artist's work, and she's like picking artists to kind of like, you know, fulfill certain spots in their merch lineup and all that stuff. And It is smart because yeah, I mean, she first off she was like, you know, we don't need the sphere in there at all, really. And then you know, second she was like, what if we did this kind of thing? And at that point, Jess and I just kind of ran with it. And it's nice to be art directed by someone who's that in touch with stuff because we'll also get it sometimes where it's like, you know, you're kind of asking for stuff that we don't. It's not you. Why are you asking us for, you know, this kind of thing? But yeah, no, she's great. A lot of times it's open ended, but like, yeah, I don't know. I like being steered by specific people.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you guys prefer to have kind of like guardrails, guidelines, and an artistic direction? Or do you feel like I would just love to like come up with whatever my brain decides that this is what it's going to be and then throw it out, you know, into the universe?
I like rules. I like whenever we're working with a band, I'll send them I'll, you know, sort of be like, hey, send us a list of all the stuff you don't want us to do, because every band has stuff they're sick of. And that usually is enough of a springboard that we can do it. Cause it's usually, you know, like, don't draw us, don't draw our lyrics, you know, like whatever. But, that's helpful for me. I don't like going, and Jess is the same way, I think, I don't know, where they're just like, it's a free for all, do whatever you want. It's like, well, you say that until you see the sketch, and then it's like,
They never mean
it. Yeah, they never mean it. That's like the kiss of
They
death.
always have some ideas about what they do or don't want. It's just a matter
Yeah,
of
and we
whether
were
or not
thinking
they
more
know
like
how to
this
communicate
kind
that.
of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I
When
think it's good
y'all-
if they have some input in the beginning. Just
Yeah. When y'all get a gig, what is sort of like the beginning look like? Is it you meet with the management and they give you the guidelines and y'all meet together? Or is it like Jess has an idea or Dan has an idea and you guys sort of go, hey, here's this, here's that. How can we make this work? What does that look like?
It's sort of, yeah, they'll come to us with the numbers part of it, you know, like the how many we're doing, and, you know, because we're printing everything, so we need to know that part before we take a job. And yeah, sometimes they'll steer us a little bit. We send sketches, like pencil sketches, and a lot of times that's my end of things. And then as the art is developing, Jess and I kind of figure out who's better suited to do which parts of it. The way that we've been working a lot lately is I'll do the drawing part of it, and then Jess kind of comes in and like colors, like does these like elaborate textured watercolor gouache paintings for the line work. And then we've figured out a way to kind of technically like mesh that stuff back and forth, where oftentimes I'm working on the final line work at the same time she's working on the color, because the rough art is so locked in. And then we come together almost at the same time pretty much and merge it all. And there's a little bit of cleanup and stuff, but that's been a really fun way to work. And Jess has been doing that with a few other artists, like some friends that we print stuff for, like, you know, like Dave Clock and who else? There's other people.
I actually think we have a piece that you did with Dave for Goose out in Seattle. It's like a Tiffany lamp, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Jess, I think you worked on that one as
That
well.
thing is cool.
yeah.
It is very cool. But yeah, I mean, that's such a cool thing to be able to come in and like simultaneously work, but also collaboratively work. And then y'all are then printing them in house essentially. So you have the ability to be a little bit more like finite about how you want it to look on the kind of that production level, right? A lot more control over it.
And that's a lot. Like, I'm very insistent that we print our stuff. It's just the entire time you're printing, you're making decisions about the work. You know what I mean? And now that we're printing stuff for other people, like, we're only printing for people that trust us to make those decisions too, and people that we have a dialogue with and we can talk to. But it's when you hand it over to a printer, it's like, you know, the job's kind of not done really, you know, and I've been just as much into the production side of it, especially as we've gotten more and more into doing, like, you know, this like full color CMYK stuff. And like, we're printing like extremely technical line work and stuff for like people like Aaron Horkey, who is, you know, like, his stuff is built perfectly, so it works, but it's also relentless. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing, you know, like we printed this thing that's like a headlight, and it's got like 5 colors, these like metallic symbols, and it's the size of a dime. And all of it, the way his line work works, it's like one line changes color throughout the thing or whatever, but that means that it's like 3 or 4 layers of that line that all need to line up perfectly. Otherwise it starts to look like television static, you know, and all of that stuff. It's like, I want to be there looking at it and being able to make those calls. Cause you know, otherwise you get a thing back and you're like, I worked really hard on this thing for like the art part takes so long and the printing doesn't. And, you know, you get this thing and you're just like, what was it for? You know?
Sometimes that happens when we print it too, though.
Sometimes that happens when we print it too, but at least then I can be like, this is on me, and the, you know, the triage that has to happen there. It's like, you know, I'm deciding what's important and what's not, and you know what I can compromise on or whatever, and
What you're saying is you're a control freak.
No, yes, that's what I'm saying. No, it's just I just don't like the weird surprises. I mean, we've had things printed a couple times by other people, but for the most part, we've never had anyone else screen print our stuff. And
that's really cool. You know, we get this on the at the collector side, so we're the ones at the merch table or ordering it from, you know, y'all for an AP, and so, you know, when you get that paper in the mail, when we open it up, you roll it up, like out there. There are just some showstopper moments where you roll something out and you're like, oh, like the text. I love texture when it comes to like a print. I know it's really hard when you're doing kind of mass scale of them, but y'all's prints have that texture. It feels like it's more
that's
like,
so nice to hear.
It does. Awesome. When you see it in person, I think that's the big thing, right? Like, because we were talking with somebody else about the difference between seeing things online. It's very flat, 2-dimensional, like,
and it's this big,
and it's tiny, and so you have to like zoom in to really see the dimension on it. But for y'all, I mean, I can tell Jess that like when it's a piece with your like brush strokes feel like that to me. It's almost like Dan with the line. It's almost like the graphite pencil or the ink and the pen like has that sort of raised 3-dimensional texture to it, and it's across all of your work.
Great compliment.
That's so nice to hear. We honestly,
it really is.
I never know if it comes across or if it's a waste of time. I mean, so
we collect a lot. We have a lot of artwork, and like Mike said earlier, I know for us, it's so refreshing when I see a piece that I haven't seen before, or that just has something that just feels different than anything else in the collection that makes you go, oh, I got to look at that a little bit more. Like I need to spend more time with it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
I do think for us, a lot of it goes back to that we kind of both started printing, and I mean, we both have drawn our whole lives, but we were kind of developing our skills as artists and printers like simultaneously.
That's true.
And I think we both really cared about like both ends of that of the process from the very beginning. So we've always like designed stuff like thinking about how it's going to print. Like it's never been separate. But also I think Dan has just done an incredible, I mean, I don't print as much anymore because I don't live where the studio is. But Dan is the one who has just like mastered the technical end and figured out like what's been really cool is as my like interest in learning how to use different media has developed, which mostly means like different kinds of paint and stuff. You know, I used to just do like pen and ink drawings, and I love color, and I really wanted to get better at working with color. And so I started learning how to paint. And rather than like just having that be a separate thing, Dan was like, okay, now we're going to learn how to screen print those paintings then. Like if you're into doing that, I'm going to figure out how to screen print it and make it look good. Which I'm really grateful for.
Slow process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but the nice thing about it is every step of the way we were like, this looks amazing.
The first time we did it, I pulled like some tutorial. I think it was like Sarah Pop had something on gigposters.com that was like, you know, do your halftones at this size and these angles and stuff. And I was just like, I don't understand what that means. I'm going to figure it out. I did it, and like, we did these 2 posters for the Swell season back in 2011, I think, 2010. And, it was, looking back, it's like crude, but like it did everything we wanted it to do at the time. And it became like wildly addictive. And, Yeah, and it's been an ongoing thing of like, anytime, every print that we make, I've got a note, where I'm like, next time maybe we'll try this thing instead. And over the course of, I guess at this point we've been doing that kind of stuff for like 15 years, which is crazy to me. But, over the course of that, we've kind of like massaged out all the weird, obstacles enough to.
You're still improving on it though.
Yeah. Every once in a while there's something. Yeah.
Isn't that part of it? It's like you guys have been doing this for 20 years. I just think about like the change in sort of the way that art is now being put out there between the digital kind of, change, the way maybe some screen printing improvements, right? You guys are used to like pulling them by hand. Now there's like,
we have a semi-automatic press,
and semi-automatic. And that, I mean, has to improve your efficiency, obviously, but maybe the quality of output as well. And I really like what Mike said earlier about your Instagram saying that you're probably busy because the first of all, the prints are incredible. But you also have a record label as well. Like, so are you both still playing in kind of your respective bands or new versions and iterations of those bands?
I'm not.
Neither of us really are playing music anymore.
So this is for other artists then.
This is for other artists, and it's all friends. And then I've been lucky in that like people who I super look up to and like the indie rock, I have people reach out and be like, hey, do you want to put out this like 7-inch or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like there are people that we've released stuff for that like are essentially like kind of the reason I got into doing this the way that I've been doing it, and like looking at record packaging and things like that. And so yeah, I started it very casually just as a way I like making things, I guess, and the process of getting records made is really exciting to me. I've got a couple record pressing plants that I really trust to like handle that stuff. And like a guy that there's this buddy of mine, Dave Gardner in California, he's a Minnesota guy, but like, he's way overqualified to be working on stuff, but he touches everything. I send everything to him. He goes through and like cleans up the audio or masters it or does what he needs to do to make it sound as the best it can. But he's like, a lot of times I'll be talking to him and he's like, trying to think of touchstones that I can say. He'll be like, oh yeah, I can fit this in or whatever. I just remastered the entire like Bad Brains discography or whatever. Or like I'm recording a Hold Steady album, so I can't, I can't do this thing. Or he's got these like massive archival projects that are like, bands that are big deal bands. But it's been kind of fun gathering resources for that and trying to figure out the best way we can do it.
And is that kind of like a full circle where you're doing the artwork for either, I saw, so record printing, our kids are super into records right now. Like there's kind of a renaissance of.
I'm definitively personally.
He's trying really hard not to.
Like, not be into it because it's a slippery slope for me. If I get into like, it'll go. We were just we were in New York for Goose's shows at MSG and they had a pop up and they released 8 different live track kind of, they call them.
I saw this,
yeah. And then they were blind boxed on top of that. So it was out of 1,000 presses.
That's manipulative.
Right. Out of 1,000 presses of each one. So 8. So there's 8,000 records they made, right?
Oh, boy.
600 of each were black vinyl. And then 300 or 400 were split as 300 in a color variant, like translucent vinyl, and then 100 of them were a clear vinyl. And so,
right, you didn't know what you were going to get.
We had a friend that wanted them, so she picked 2. So I pulled 2 for her, and they reimbursed me for just the cost of them. That's all I do for clear. It's like for friends, I'm just getting you because you guys aren't here. And I happened to pull. She's like, "This is the luckiest thing I've ever seen." They were both part of the clear 100 variants.
Wow.
See, it works really well when I do it for other people. Like if I do it for me, it's just been the standard black. And that's when I was like, I can't get into this. Yeah. This would be a dangerous, beyond slippery slope. I would fall from the top to the bottom of the slope instantaneously.
So we just let our kids do it. Our son's really into some like cool like indie bands, and so he likes when they do like a drop and a variant. He likes the glow in the dark ones and splatter ones and stuff, and it's really cool. But like, we forget that that's also like a piece of art as well. And you guys are creating so many tactile like objects, right? You have records and CDs, I think, are coming back again. Like, are you guys going to get back into the old CD?
The packaging is so much less fun to do.
Yeah, it is less fun
than record packaging.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a big part of why you started a label, Dan, because you love designing record packaging, right?
The emphasis
cool
on the
thing.
packaging is like big. Like we try to screen print it, and we're screen printing and hand assembling the record jackets almost always. And it's, and that's happening in the same studio or whatever. We have like scoring, that's all very manual, like we cut everything down, like the templates for everything. It's just rectangles. So there's no tabs or weirdness. There's no die cutting. It's just these rectangles that fold into these gatefolds. And, it frees us up to be able to screen print things. And that way the records feel like our posters do. And, but yeah, I do the art sometimes. I hire friends. Like what I want it to be is like essentially a catalog where it's like all my buddies that like, there's kind of like going back to like the band thing where it's just like, there's a crew of us that all kind of work on this stuff. And, like Mike Sutphen has done our art for stuff. Like I just put out a Daniel Danger record. And like this guy, Zach Hobbs, that's like this like real kind of amazing weirdo. He did art for a thing. There was actually a band that was like a former poster guy. This Jenny Hanover, which is not a lady, it's a band. But anyway, I just want it to be like this collective thing of like me and my friends all working on stuff. And it feels great to like reach out to a buddy and be like, hey, can I give you money to do art for a record, and to do that and have it be a thing that makes sense. And I think that the record label, like the body of work that it is, I've been told that it's like sonically a little bit scatterbrained, but I feel like it fits my aesthetic and my tastes perfectly. It's like, I'm not putting out records I don't want to listen to. And I feel like my musical taste is very limited, especially like compared to like Jess or something like that. So to me, it feels very narrowed in, but I don't know. It's a really fun thing to work on. I joke that it's like my expensive hobby because it's definitely more money out than money in, but like we offset it by, some of these bigger poster jobs and some of the printing work and all that stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It's really fun.
So I've got to ask, in the space, right, for like gig posters, I guess, or albums, like if you're doing an album jacket, is there, and this is for each of you, because I imagine there's probably different ones, but is there a band that you have not yet worked with that would be top of the list? Top 3 or so, if you have them, out of curiosity.
Do you have that, Chelsea? I feel like you.
No, not really. I get intimidated by bands that I actually like.
I do too. Honestly, like a lot of the stuff that's been my like grail type jobs or whatever, like it's like the dog catches the car kind of, where like I'll get it and like they're, oh yeah, no, we're psyched to have you work on it. And I'm like, hey, Jess, why don't you like, there was this band. Yeah, there was this band, Captain Jazz, that I'm buddies with them now, but like I wasn't terribly close with them at the time. But they did a reunion in 2011, and we did a poster for that because we'd done a bunch of posters for their other bands. And I love what came out, but it was because I had almost no hand in it. Like I completely was like, hey Jess, we got a job to do, and but as far as like the bands, I mean, I would love to do a Pearl Jam poster. That's never going to happen for really dumb reasons, but or like Nine Inch Nails. Like there was a point where like people were doing Nine Inch Nails posters. I think that ship has sailed as far as having illustrators do that kind of stuff. But I'm also secretly like a big like Tool person, so that would be fun. But I'm also not a fine artist showing in galleries and stuff. So I think that ship isn't there. Anyway.
Jess, do you have a sort of a wish list?
I really don't.
Yeah. So
I kind of can't think of
some movies.
It that way.
I think you've got like movie stuff.
Yeah,
maybe. Except it turns out, well, yeah.
It could be past or present. Like I think about like one of my favorite movies of all time is The Princess Bride. And I think of like the renaissance of like some of the art that's come out now, you know, it's like what the 40th anniversary of it or whatever it happens to be. But one of the other things that if you can't think about who you wanted to work for and do work for, one of the other questions I like to ask is who recently amongst your peers have you guys seen a piece of artwork and you were like wowed by it?
Oh God, that's a good question.
It's funny because that's like
I
all
saw
look
something
at.
that I can't say what it was. That was the most amazing thing I'd seen ever. But
Do I know about it?
I think I can't. I think you do. I saw it at the studio.
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet. I
Aha.
think I can't say what it is.
So we'll
Here?
wait.
You saw it
We'll
here?
wait on that. Maybe we'll do a
Yeah.
2.0, Jessica, and just double check once it's out. You just ping us and let us know, like, hey, that thing that I wanted to say
This is
now.
it.
This is it.
I will say there. I don't know if I can say what it's for exactly, but Aaron Horkey's working on his first movie poster in a while, and
That's what
that
I'm
is.
talking about.
Oh yeah,
I
that
love
thing.
that it's the same
Honestly,
thing then.
it was. I think he's like midway through inking it now, but like he showed us the pencil sketch of it, and it was like you want to like honestly like weep. It's like his pencil.
Wow.
The thing where he just like gets the layout down on paper is it's like perfect.
Wow.
I don't know.
Talented guy.
He's a very talented guy.
That's incredible.
But that thing, when that happens, that is going to be it'll be a nice return to form because he's had like a few years of kind of being a little bit dormant. I don't know if you know his work or not, but he's.
No, I'll have to check him out. That's the
You
beauty
should.
of like learning and meeting people and like learning who they're inspired by for us to
Yeah.
kind of like widen our knowledge. Probably 20 years ago when you guys started, it was, like you said, a handful of people doing this. And now you have new generations of up and coming artists who see this and like, they see the artwork that's happening now and, to know what it takes to get from where y'all were to where you are now. I think that's an important story to also kind of consistently tell, right? Because the generation of kids now, I see it in our kids sometimes, is they're like instant. They like want to be really good at something like right now.
Oh, sure.
And-
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing from y'all's story is that it's decades of like grit and tenacity and passion for the art, for the artistry of doing the work.
And also sometimes you're built as a human in a way where you never feel good at it. So there's that too, which is, a blessing and a curse. But,
I think a lot of us
that's,
have that.
yeah, I think a lot of us have that because it's, even with like Aaron's stuff, like we'll be like, oh my God, this is so, and he's sort of like not, like he's like, like this thing needs to end this way, and like, blah blah blah, and like, I think just not being satisfied is like a huge motivator, but it's also tough because you look at the thing you just made and you're like, next time I'll do it right. But another person, like he's not making work as often now, but Nico Delart is a person who every time I see anything he makes, because he does all clayboard stuff. I do a lot. I've been doing pencil lately. It's faster and it also looks less like nobody would confuse it for AI stuff, which has been a thing that's been on my mind. But like his clayboard work is insane. It's honestly, and he's like terrifyingly young, and it's I don't know, that stuff is really cool. He doesn't make band posters, but he does a bunch of other stuff.
You guys know, but my mind is constantly being blown by Dave Clock. But
Insane.
The thing with him is I'm having a hard time calling a specific thing to mind that I saw recently because it's like there's a new thing like every couple of days. So it's just awesome. And I was like, whoa, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then the next one comes.
He's
and
the
I feel
best
same
because
way.
he'll pop in, he'll text me and be like, hey, can I show you this thing I'm working on? And it's so funny because it's like blank slate for me. I'm just like, the thing he's going to send me, I can't even form a picture of what it might be in my head. Like there's no precedent for it. And then he'll send over this thing and it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. These dogs sure are doing that stuff. It's every time. And the way that he plays with scale and perspective and like the vantage points of everything, like it's distinctly his work, but it never feels like he's like, oh, banging out another one, you know, like it never feels, it feels like it's very adventurous and like very new all the time. And I mean, we print a ton of his stuff, so it's also nice seeing, you know, like you see it from like blank paper to finished thing. And that's like, yeah, his stuff has been like really thrilling to me. We printed that Rush thing that for
The Rush thing was sick. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
it was cool.
I know what you mean though about when you're like, yeah, those dogs are doing that thing. That's like, I remember when he did a piece for Dave Matthews Band a few years ago, and it was like these bears. I think it was like in Minnesota or somewhere.
Oh,
It was like
Clarkston.
Clarkston,
Michigan.
or Michigan.
It's in Michigan.
It was like these bears, like kind of hot tubbing in coffee mugs. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was exactly
yeah.
right. It's like your brain has been bent. So yep, there are
so
those
good.
bears hanging out in those coffee mugs.
Yep.
Totally would have never put those two together, but it looks awesome.
Yeah. Jay Ryan's another guy like I think Jay really pioneered that whole thing of just being like, you know, here's a bunch of squirrels playing with sticks, and you know, and yeah, I don't know. I like that. I feel like I'm not as like whimsical for that kind of thing. I'm always like, you know, maybe this band
I
wants.
don't think you give yourself enough credit, you guys. I really do think that like there is a lot of whimsy in your work.
Okay.
We think about the slot machines that you guys, or the pinball machine.
Oh, yeah, the pinball.
slot machine from Phish, but the pinball machine you guys did for Goose in St. Louis.
Okay.
2 years ago. Like
that
there
was
is-
fun.
That was like nostalgia on paper. That just like grabbed me from, you know, like sort of like the
going
Who,
into the-
Tommy rock opera to like actually playing pinball machines in my grandfather's pizza shop when I was a kid in Pittsburgh. It was just like, this is nostalgia.
Yeah.
That was one of the most fun things I've worked on in a long time, because I've been obsessed with like the City Museum out in St. Louis. I've never been there, but I've, you know, it feels very like, you know, kin to our thing. I have that drawing here too, but all of my, this isn't just selected.
Dan's
like
just got
all
the
of-
stack
But
next to him.
here's the drawing
does,
for that.
actually.
Oh, wow.
And it was so nice to like, when everything clicked where I'm like, oh, I get to do a City Museum poster. Also, that place is seriously like, if you were a pinball, like a human pinball, you know, you just blast through this like super dangerous place. But, you know,
See, how is that not whimsical, Dan? That is
sure,
whimsical
sure.
mind.
As whimsical as you can get with a bit of danger.
right. Well, and that thing too, like it's unmistakably like, you know, if you're regional, like it's all stuff from their place. And I was so nervous that I was going to get like not like a cease and desist or whatever, but like just a wrist slap. And it was nice because they found out about it independently. They follow me on Instagram, but like, I don't think they saw it there, but they got in touch and they wanted some, you know, they were just like, we would love to hang this up in the place.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have a blessing. And apparently if I go through St. Louis, I've got a tour
You got a place
coming up or
to
whatever. Yeah. But,
That's awesome. And that's something that we look for a lot of times, you know, like when we're picking up prints, like, is it unique? Is it fun? Can I create the story in my head? Which is, again, like what I like to do. I like to do that with artwork. Like, I think about the dinosaurs from the Goose Show that you guys just did. It's like, where did they come from? Why are there dinosaurs in Virginia Beach? Like, you know, I like to create story, because that's, to me, is the fun part of art, is like taking the way that I see the world and then interpreting the piece of art that I see in different ways. And that's, I think you guys need to give them more credit that you are a whimsical, collaborative couple there that can create some pieces of art that do have stories to tell.
well, thank you. That's nice.
And you're probably busy, which I say.
Busy.
Yeah, I like, it's interesting because a lot of the direction from bands has to do with like regional tie-ins and stuff, and there's you know, we have a ton of this stuff where it's like you know, if you go to one of those like craft shows, it's like everyone's drawn the, you know, whatever, the grain belt sign, or, you know, like whatever. And I really like honing in on these like little places that maybe the locals know about, but like, you know, or play, like I drive around a lot, like I drive all over the country and see things here and there. And the thing that's like super cool is like, I'll still hear, like, for example, like I made was that Colin Malloy poster? Was that 2011 or something? I don't know. A long time ago, Colin Malloy from the Decemberists, I did a tour poster, and it was this A-frame gas station that was like outside of Commerce City, Colorado. And it's like right off the freeway, so it's really visible. But I didn't realize like it's like I was just like, oh, that's a cool thing. I stopped taking a bunch of pictures, you know, and then drew the thing for a poster. But I still like this year I've had someone be like, that's the Colin Malloy gas station to me. You know what I mean? And it's so cool because people will find my little spots, you know, and a lot of times, a lot of times it's not, you know, like it's not like this obelisk in the desert or whatever. It's like a thing you can see off of 94 or whatever. But like, I'll have people point that stuff out to me, and it's really cool that people see these things and place their own narrative on it. I'm working on a Death Cab for Cutie poster right now that is, I think right in front of my eyes, there was a local landmark that I don't think I've seen show up in a poster. And my goal is to have this place be someone's like Death Cab reference. You know what I mean? Like that's
awesome.
That's what I want. It's also visible from all points of the city. So I
people there with the poster taking pictures.
Everyone at the show will know exactly what it is, but I don't think it's shown up. It's hard to get asked to do 1,000 Minneapolis posters and not
right and find
not
something that no
double
one's
up.
ever seen before.
Right.
Yeah, but this one I think is
That's very cool.
untapped.
Awesome.
Man.
Well, we've kept you guys for about an hour. I'm going to say we could probably talk for another hour.
So
This has
many
been
more.
fantastic. Thank y'all for taking the
We'd
time.
love to do it again at any point if you want to.
Thank you.
We would
so
love
much.
that.
Love to do a
Open
2.0. Before we let y'all go, is there somewhere you can let our listeners know where to find you when they want to find out more about Landland, what you guys have going on, what types of drops might be coming up
Go
for
buy some
artist
prints in your
editions?
shop that might be available now.
Our store is, I have to do some domain work, but the best place for our store is probably landland.bigcartel.com.
Perfect.
We also have a Bandcamp, which is, you know, landland.bandcamp.com. A thing that I'm trying to get into shape to be a cool thing is our Substack, which is landland.substack.com.
It's very consistent.
Yeah, I try. That thing, I want it to be more than just like a advertisement for posters, but that I'm kind of excited about. We're both on Instagram. My thing is Landland Colportage, and Jess's is _ J Seamans. That's I don't know. I mean,
pretty good.
we have like in our store we have like hundreds of things in the back catalog if people do want to buy stuff. It'd be great. We love shipping things. I don't know.
That's perfect.
I'm going to go ahead, and it's unrelated, but I'm going to put in a shameless plug for the podcast and radio show that I do. It's on my mind because I'm about to leave to go do it.
Please do.
It is music related. It's
how do you describe this?
I'm not going to say too much about it. It's very weird, but it's called Mother's Musical Diaries with Andy and Wylita. It's a podcast. It's also a live radio show every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central. You can stream it live at riverwestradio.com. A cool community radio station in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But also you can look it up on any podcast app. Mother's Musical Diaries with Andy and Wylita.
It's amazing.
That
Honestly,
sounds amazing. That sounds probably right up my alley.
And more
Who
content.
knows? It's I don't know who it's for, but there are people a lot. Maybe you're one of them.
I catch
Okay.
up on it when I'm driving like in the middle of like Wyoming in the middle of the night. I'll catch up. I'll just like blast through any episodes I haven't heard, and it's perfect for that.
Awesome.
It's great for doing stuff around the house, but it is. I want
thing.
everyone to know about it. It's a weird thing. It's cool.
Thank you for
It's great.
sharing, because I didn't know about it, and I'm always looking for like new fun things to listen to, and you know, when we go for walks or when we're traveling. So I'm excited to hear that you're going to be on that upcoming episode, or is it something that you regularly do, Jessica?
It's weekly.
Awesome.
So my husband and I do it live.
Very
weekly.
cool.
It's not apparent that it's Jess. Like
No,
it's not like this.
But my hand is
Her hand
very
is
present. in
yes.
the
I feel like
that,
I don't know.
you won't hear me talking, but
Well, we will share this out also as part of the episode on the socials so that people can add it to their listening list,
right.
their playlist, the rotations.
And no pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no, I think
but
that's
Not
awesome.
for everyone.
No pressure,
awesome.
no pressure, but you're messing up if you don't. At
No
least, like,
pressure,
check it
but
out.
you should definitely listen to
Take
it.
a listen. Give it a
right.
test drive.
That's right. Test it out.
I'll tell you
we are-
what, my parents love it.
Good. Well, if it's parent approved, 2 thumbs up.
It's actually surprising that they do. Anyway.
Well, we really appreciate both of y'all coming on and sharing some time. I know that you're super busy, and so we really appreciate coming on to the Best of the Tour podcast. We are super excited to keep seeing all of the incredible prints and record covers and other really interesting, cool art pieces and things that y'all do. And we hope that if y'all are listening out there, go give Jessica and Dan follows on Instagram, check out the podcast, and keep up with their work. And if you're looking for something that is whimsical, that is unique and fun, go check out their shop, see if you can find something for a loved one. And
There's some banger posters still
I know,
available.
do not
I was
miss.
on there earlier, like, oh, I want that. It's dangerous, slippery slope.
right, the add to cart. But thank y'all so much for joining the podcast, and we can't wait to see what comes next for the team.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Best of the Tour is presented by Invisible Industries. Find us at www.bestofthettour.com and on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Music. You can also catch Erica and Mike on their other podcast, Posters in Every Direction, streaming wherever you stream your podcasts from. A big thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.